Hello and good afternoon, all. Thank you for joining us here. We are back with another Alumni Association virtual engagement series, and we have a very special alumni that we are going to talk to today. Born and raised in Philadelphia, a proud Lincoln High School graduate, go Rail Splitters. John Dempster came to Manor College in 1994, transferred to another institution before returning back to Manor to earn his associate's degree in liberal arts. While a Blue Jay, John played on the men's soccer team as the last line of defense, the goalie. And soon after graduation, John was hired at Manor College in 2000 as an admissions counselor, where he spent over a decade in admissions before transitioning over to athletics as athletic director. I'm joined today by a wonderful co-host. This is our first student co-host, Eddie Fortescue, who is a member of the men's soccer team. And we're going to ask John some questions and learn more about his story. Hi, John. Welcome.
Hi, Kel. Thanks for having me.
No problem. Hi, Eddie. Thanks for joining us today, too.
Hi, thank you for having me.
All right. Well, this is great. So John, or as some call you, JD, can you tell us, how did you hear about Manor and why did you choose to come here as your college of choice?
It's a great question. I talk about this often. It was in the summer of 1994, long time ago. I thought I was going to go to another college, and it was in August, I would say early to mid-August. I received a phone call from Bill Crowley, the former men's soccer coach here at the college, and we got to talking, and he really convinced me to come up and visit the school. And when I visited the school, I'm not kidding you, I fell in love with it. I remember driving up to the, in the driveway with my mom. Wow, look at this great suburban area, this great school. And I said, if I can get in, I really want to go. And the rest is history. I never really left after that, but I really, that's why I chose it. When I got here, I felt comfortable, from the admissions group, through some of the teachers that I met, through what potentially became my teammates. And we just formed a bond, and it was just a great experience for me to get here.
That's great. I think Eddie, one of our students and a player of yours, has a question for you.
Yeah, I do have a question for you. I know you're athletic director here. How did you know this career path?
I'm sorry, what was that, Ed?
How did you know your career path?
Great question. I didn't know. I'll tell you what, I always knew that I wanted to help people in some way. I didn't know if that was through teaching or through coaching or through coaching and teaching. But this goes back to high school. My former high school men's soccer coach, Rich Patton, I basically tried to model everything I did through life and coaching, basically through his model, which was basically be nice to everybody, show them their worth, let them know that no matter what, that they can do it if they believe in it, that sort of thing. And then when I got to Manor, it's not a secret, I wasn't a great student in high school. But through the teachers and their just the personalized attention, it kind of opened these doors for me to go, wow, I can do these certain things. I can help people because they helped me. And that's kind of in a corny way, I wanted to kind of give back to what they gave me here, So did I know I wanted to be the director of athletics? No, but I did know that I wanted to help people. And I found that through coaching. I found that through just talking to these potential athletes and students when I worked in admissions as well. And that kind of led me to here. For me, I love this job. I love working with athletes and seeing players like yourself develop in front of our eyes, and I could tell you that it is a great career path. So if anybody was interested in working in athletics and especially at the college level, it's definitely a dream job for a lot of people.
I think it's so cool and common that we hear students where they say, I didn't know I was going into that career path when I was in college. But I think sometimes there's an expectation of, like, you go to college, you should know what you're going to do and you should have it all figured out. And that's really not the case. So I think it's really encouraging to hear from someone who went to Manor and then didn't realize they were going into a certain career. I think that's really realistic, but also reassuring to hear that you don't have to have it all figured out and it's going to turn out okay. I loved hearing about your influences through Richard Patton, and I know that's a really important person in your life. So can you take us back to 1994 and what was your Manor experience like? What were you involved with? What were your classes like? And like, what were you like as a student on campus?
Great question. When I actually attended Manor College, I knew one person, and then when I started to get into the different classes, when I really started to develop as a student, I tell people all the time, I got my education in Manor College. So in high school, like I said, I had a great time. I met a lot of friends, played some sports, had a good time. Never truly focused on the classroom and how important it really was. I didn't really know until I got here. I never really felt like I could do it academically until I got here, right? So when I was in a classroom with 5 people, 10 people, I couldn't hide anymore. I couldn't sit in the back and, and there was a few teachers here like Jane Z, which, a lot of these teachers they're not here anymore, but like Maddie Seltzer, they really took the time with me after class and said, hey, John, study this way, do your homework this way. If you have any questions, let me know. And I mean, this is before the internet, all right, because that's how old I am, but they were always available. They always had class time. And so as a student, I started to get these grades and it just became the norm for me, A's and B's, where in high school, it just wasn't like that for me. I was just happy getting by. And then it became, like athletics, it became more of a challenge where I was like, I want to get great grades the whole time I'm here. Through Manor, academically, I developed, and then I also developed these great friendships, these great bonds. Of course, it's through sports, but I also did something else. I also lived here, and I was a resident, and I know I didn't live too far, but I wanted the experience. So I can't explain it, but when you, like say, live with people, a lot of times you form these bonds that, you can write about it, but you don't really know it's going to happen. And some of us are friends to this day. We're in each other's weddings and things like that. As a student, definitely had a great time while I was here. I matured academically while I was here. So, it was peaceful. It was nice. Everybody seemed to get along. The one thing that I thought was really cool about Manor was there was no cliques. And sometimes in high school, you could get in a situation where you think it's, say cliquey, but here it wasn't like that at all. It was, everybody was friends. You could play sports, not play sports. You could, be a vet tech student or a dental hygiene student or whatever. And everybody just kind of got along. It was really cool. So it was just an experience that it was great. And I always try to, share with my athletes now, like, hey, Manor may not have, some of the things that maybe another college has, but in other ways, it has so much more. So that's kind of my experience as a student here. I hope I answered the question.
So I have a soccer question for you. I know today I love playing for the soccer team. I love everyone on the team, coaches, everyone. How was it back then with your team and the guy?
So my first year was challenging, to say the least. I think we were 1-15-1. And I was the goalie. So that was fun. But we turned it around. The next year we were 15-1 and won a state championship. It was great. And I've coached say many championship teams, which was amazing. But I've only played in one, and that was here at Manor College. And I'll never forget it. We have a banner in the gym. It was just such a great experience to go from worst to first. It was another experience to share. And those guys, some of the guys that I played with, I mean, you want to talk about tremendous talents. We were getting it together the first year. We just didn't have enough, say, pieces in place. And then the next year, we definitely turned it around. And again, I talk to a lot of the guys from that team to this day. And every now and then, some of us get together. And again, it's just a great time. Just the memories are just so important. So important. Good question.
That's the beauty of Manor, is that regardless of major program activity is not, there is this sense of community, and you create these lifelong friendships where you're there for growing families and marriages and births and all the things, and it's really special. And we hear that over and over and over again, regardless if you were a graduate in the 60s or the 90s or the 2000s. So it's really, that's so special to hear. So John, how did you transition from student to staff member? And what was that like for you? And when you were a student, did you ever think, I could work here someday, or I could coach? And what was that transition like for you?
So when I was a student here, I wasn't thinking about working at all. All I cared about really was getting the grades. And at the time, Manor being a 2-year college, I was looking to transfer and that sort of thing. But I'll tell you what, that I mentioned the admissions team when I got to Manor College, and that was really, besides the coach kind of getting me to the door, that admissions team, they opened it for me, right? So there was a guy named Gene Saltis, who was my admissions counselor, and he was just such a fun guy. He knew how to talk to me, how to get me ready, for college, and it just he made me feel really comfortable, right? So we fast forward. I transferred, and then when I came back to Philly after my time at the other college, I was literally out one night, and there was Gene, and we started to talk, and about career and this, that, and the other thing. And he said, "Hey, send me your resume." And literally the rest was history. I interviewed for the job. I got the job, and it was great because most of the teachers that I had were still here. So it was almost like a reunion of sorts. And then when I mentioned giving back, that's when I really wanted to start to do that. And that's what I did. It's really easy to work in a place where you actually believe in the messages, you believe in what, say they're selling, and it was just easy for me. It wasn't really like a job, even though it was, because basically I was telling my story, and hopefully that students could relate to it, and they could see the beauty that is Manor College. So that was my time when I was my early on working here at Manor, and I really enjoyed it.
So I have another question. I know back then Manor was a 2-year school. Now it's a 4-year. How did Manor help you prepare for Millersville?
Oh, well, a great question. So as I mentioned previously, I didn't really know how to study. I wasn't academically mature, so I'm telling you, the teachers that were here, and again, we have great teachers here now, but I'm just speaking from my experience. They were amazing. They just kind of taught me in a way that I got it. I mean, I'm left-handed, and they even taught me how to take notes, say for a left-hander, because if you're a left-handed person and you're writing in pencil or a pen, you're getting it all right here as you're writing. I had a gentleman teach me how to take notes, and it just unlocked something in my memory, So Manor prepared me so much. And again, I lived here too. So that residence experience really kind of paved the way for me to be an hour and a half, 2 hours away from home. How to live off of $5 a week, how to wash my own clothes, that sort of thing. And I'll tell you what, that transfer experience was great because I was kind of, maybe you could say, maybe mentally mature, a little more mature than when I transferred than if I started at that, say other university as a freshman. So the time here at Manor was it was just so valuable to me, because it really did prepare me not only to transfer, but for life as well. Good question.
Yeah, Eddie, thanks for asking that. So many of our students, our associate degree, granting students, they are looking for that 2-year degree to either go right into their job or go into another institution. And you're right, it is a great transfer experience. You go into that other school with maturity and a leg up on different skills. So that's great to hear. And we do offer bachelor degrees as well, which is awesome. And that came out of a need that we were hearing from students who said, I don't want to transfer. I want to stay at Manor. So we offer those as well in some programs, not all programs, but it's just great to hear that you felt prepared for the work field, but also to transfer into a much larger institution. Millersville is not small. That's a pretty different school. So John, as we are kind of concluding here, what advice would you have for students like Eddie, students that are listening and tuning in who are pursuing a degree? And, we're at the time of the semester, spring break's only a week or two away. Students it's hard, spring semesters are always busy. And what advice would you have for them to encourage them to continue their studies and their academic journeys here?
I would say for the students that are thinking about coming to Manor, go where you're wanted, right? We want you here. You belong here. And that's true. And then for the students that are already here, don't hide. Don't be invisible. We have so many great resources that you can utilize to better yourself academically, athletically, in your case, Eddie. And speaking of Eddie, he makes my job easier. You have to understand that. Eddie is the prime example of what a coach wants, right? First to practice, last to leave, reminds all the players, what to do. Nothing's beneath Eddie. He'll get the water, he'll get whatever, and he's the leading goal scorer in the country, but yet he's still getting, the water, the towels, the whatever it is, that's the advice, actually you should be asking Eddie, right? But and also, he plays every sport, right? So I would just say for the students that are here, try out for that team, join that club. Participate in a marketing event, be a model, be whatever it is, be a part of Manor. Because if you just come here, take your classes and leave, that's fine. That's okay. But if you just take that extra step and be a part of something, that's when those memories happen. That's when the friendships form. And that's what it's all about for me. And when I talk to those guys and girls from years past, that's what we have. That's what we talk about, the great times. And then we try to, me working here now, I try to help my guys and girls to get that experience for them. So when we went to Virginia for the national championship tournament, there was guys that were never on a beach before. There was guys that never stayed in a hotel before. There was guys that considered that a vacation, never on vacation before. And these are just experiences that you can always talk about, and it all started here at Manor College. So that's it. That's all I got. As far as advice and what to do. But thank you very much.
That's great. Well, thank you so much, John, for joining us, and we're proud to have you as a Blue Jay. And as we say to our alumni, you belong here always, and that's really true. And I think you know that more than anyone else, but want you to make sure that you feel that. Eddie, thanks for joining us today again as a student co-host. It was really fun to have you on board and hear your questions. And thank you all for tuning in, and look for our next one as we talk to Hannah Schum. CPA next week. So thank you all for joining. Have a good one.